In GE 2025, even before the campaign began, we said that the chances of an opposition wipeout were zero. And we were right. The election outcome suggests that Singaporeans are judiciously balancing between having PAP as government and an opposition presence as a check and balance.
I disagree with the minister when he says there's no chance of an opposition wipeout. In the circumstances that the PAP is in and the opposition are in Singapore, given the tremendous resources that are available to the PAP to reach out on a day-to-day level in the constituency through the People's Association, for example, it is chalk and cheese.
First, GE 2025 showed that Singaporeans value a stable and effective government that will safeguard our well-being. Now, the second lesson is that our political system is still evolving. The GE 2025 results show that Singaporeans want the PAP to remain in government to act decisively for Singapore. At the same time, the people also want an opposition in parliament as an alternative voice and to provide a check on the government. In GE 2025, even before the campaign began, we said that the chances of an opposition wipeout were zero. And we were right. The election outcome suggests that Singaporeans are judiciously balancing between having PAP as government and an opposition presence as a check and balance. Calls for 1/3 of the seats to be held by opposition did not sway voters. The WP, in fact, deliberately chose to contest fewer than 1/3 of the seats. I do not think this was solely for lack of suitable candidates. It was a considered strategic decision, reading the mood of the electorate. Any future shift from this current composition will no doubt be carefully weighed by Singaporeans. Voters' judgment will depend on many factors, such as the quality of candidates on both sides, the performance of the PAP as a ruling party in leading the country, our sensitivity and response to ground concerns, the performance of the WP as a responsible opposition voice, as they characterize themselves, and the standards of honesty and integrity displayed by both parties. This is a dynamic balance. It is not fixed in stone. It is quite possible other opposition parties besides the WP will come in the next time. They certainly are working hard to remain players. This is part of our political evolution.
Move on to the next point Minister made. He made it a bit earlier about the WP, in his view, in his opinion, deliberately choosing to contest less than 1/3 of the seats. Now, we had roughly, if I remember correctly, 1.5 months from the time the electoral boundary report was released and nomination day, thereabouts. In that time, the opposition, it's specifically the Workers' Party, we have got to organize the individuals we have, the members we have, and persuade them to stand for general elections. It is a short period of time. And in that period of time, you also have to deal with the reality of new SMCs, sometimes new GRCs. So we are not clairvoyant. Unlike the government, we don't have the capacity to conduct survey after survey to understand where the population is on certain issues. So the realities are quite different. I disagree with the minister when he says there's no chance of an opposition wipeout. In the circumstances that the PAP is in and the opposition are in Singapore, given the tremendous resources that are available to the PAP to reach out on a day-to-day level in the constituency through the People's Association, for example, it is chalk and cheese.
I should say this. I think most PAP MPs in this House when the boundary reports come out, everyone scramble. They're all smiling. We are equally scrambling. Whenever the boundaries come up, we may have a slight advantage or an advantage because we contest. We are present in every constituency. So maybe there's an advantage there, but we are also scrambling every time boundary reports come out. But we know it's necessary. I think in the hearts of Singaporeans, they know that there's no chance of a wipeout. And reading the ground, we know there's no chance of a wipeout. The desire for a check on the PAP is very strong, precisely because we have a good majority. And that desire is so strong. We see cases all the time, like what I mentioned, the couple at the Zhicha store, friendly to us, like what we are doing. Want you to be government, want me to continue as health minister, but I'm not voting for you. Yeah, I need to support the opposition. The third lesson is that Singaporeans continue to be moderate and pragmatic in our political philosophy. Voters expect our politics and politicians to reflect that. Significantly, we did not see the surge in populism that has occurred in many countries. More constructive engagement helps build up our defenses against populism. But the best defense against populism is for the people to reject it. To our great relief, that was what happened during GE 2025. No party or candidate won any seat by proposing unsustainable social welfare programs, tearing down institutions, or by stoking anti-foreigner sentiments. Instead, our better angels prevailed. Now, the final lesson from this GE is that Singaporeans are holding political parties to higher standards. This includes demanding more substantive information and arguments during an election. For alternatives to be meaningful, they must go beyond tweaking at the margins of government proposals or simply jumping on the bandwagon every time an issue goes viral. Singaporeans want to see clear, well-considered visions that allow them to weigh real choices about our nation's future. We see this dynamic institutionalized in other mature democracies. In UK, for example, Tories, they were in favor of Brexit. Labour was pro-EU. There was a referendum, Tories won. In Germany, the Christian Democratic Union is more conservative. The Social Democratic Party leans towards social spending. The Greens champion environmental sustainability. In the US, the Republicans traditionally favor low taxes and a small government. The Democrats, the opposite. If WP is positioning itself as the 0.5 in a 1.5 party system, I think it needs to present a principled, consistent, and coherent approach to the main challenges facing Singapore. In a maturing democracy, voters deserve and want more than positions that agree with the PAP's policies in general but suggest let's do a bit more, or offer something that appears to be more generous, more compassionate, and yet requires fewer hard choices. This falls short of being a real alternative. A real alternative promises gains with accompanying trade-offs so that voters can make informed decisions and not be lulled into comforting illusions.
Minister spoke about mature democracies. He used the example of the political systems in the United Kingdom, in Germany, real choices. I think we have to look at both these societies as what they are and how deep the political systems are compared to ours. We've had a one-party dominant system since independence. These two societies are very different. Our system is very different. We deal with significant asymmetries of information.
Mr. Singh talked about our circumstances being different from UK or US. 1963, this was a much smaller chamber with 13 Barisan Socialist members, minority, small minority. But they stood for different vision, with different sets of policies. They disagree with the PAP on big issues of the day. Merger with Malaysia, teaching of language, particularly Chinese, national service. After 65, of course, it's then become PAP dominant. But over the years, we saw WP came some way. From 1 to 2 single seats, you now have 2 GRCs, plus a couple of single seats, and 2 NCMP. We are now leader of the opposition. There is no chance of a wipeout in our view. Regardless of which side of the House we sit on, we must never allow foreign actors to influence what is for Singaporeans to decide. We must not exploit foreign controversies for domestic political advantage, nor allow foreigners to exploit our domestic politics to drive a wedge in our society. It is my sincere wish that both sides of this House will come together in this long-term endeavor to forge a strong system of governance for Singapore, and for all Singaporeans, regardless of race, language, religion, or political affiliation.